welcome back to the Småbolags Dagarna in Stockholm. And I would like to say a warm welcome to Mr. John O'Connor. How are you with us?
Morning, how are things?
Good morning. We're great. How are you this lovely morning?
Good. I'm coming from Ireland, so it's a sunny day
Okay, so where are you at the moment?
in the south of Ireland.
Okay, so shall we talk some garbage?
Okay.
You're collect on demand. You're something quite modern, at least at your markets where you're operating, and that's Ireland and UK. You're a digital waste management company. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. It's we're busy. Ireland, like I always highlight when I'm in Sweden, Ireland's different, and the UK and other cities in Europe are different than Sweden in that people and businesses pay private waste removal companies to pick up their waste. So it's a big market, and yeah, we're busy. We're
Yeah,
really busy.
that sounds fantastic. So, John, I'm looking forward to your presentations, and afterwards we can talk a little bit more garbage. Okay? So I
Okay.
leave the stage with you. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Hi, my name is John O'Connor, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Collect. So Collect is an online platform that connect customers, that's business and domestic customers, with waste removal companies. So like I spoke about there a minute ago, the difference between cities in Ireland, the UK, and in Europe that we're targeting is that these businesses and domestic customers go to private waste removal companies to get their waste collected. So it's not like it is in Sweden. There's numerous companies in all the cities we operate, and they're private. So customers and businesses have lots of choice, and they go onto a website or they phone these businesses. And when they want a waste removal service done, they pay these businesses to collect their waste. So the waste industry is very traditional, and most of these waste removal companies, they don't even have an online presence. They're very invested in better trucks and better ways of processing waste, but none of them look at how do you make it simple for customers to book a waste service online. That's what Collect does. We are that company that when you put into Google or you're on your social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, we'll put ads in front of you. And then if you want to book a waste service, we'll give you a price, an upfront price, and we'll subcontract the collection to our waste companies. So how Collect works online and offline. An example of our online is that 80% of our revenue, so our revenue in Collect is mixed between online and offline. So we also have a traditional offline business, which is called the Big Bin. And 80% of our revenue comes through the platform. So what I mean by that is that we go into a city and we advertise that Collect is here and we collect everything waste. And businesses and customers go onto our platform. They get a price for whatever waste removal service they need. So sometimes it's bin collection from their homes, because again, in the cities that we target, municipalities have nothing got to do with that. It's private waste companies. Or it might be a hotel and restaurants looking for a price to get their bins collected a couple of times a week. They go onto our platform, we give them a price, and then we subcontract that collection to our bin collection partners, our container hire partners, so sometimes it's for construction, or junk removal. Junk removal in Ireland, the UK, is when you want to get rid of recycled old furniture or house contents. So 80% of our revenue comes from our platform, and 20% of our revenue comes from our bag drop-off business, which is called the Big Bin. So I'm just going to explain in the next slide a little bit about the Big Bin, which 20% of our revenue comes from. So as you can see there, the Big Bin is a big metal container. We've 31 of these sites in Ireland, and the premise of the Big Bin is if people forget to put their bins out, so for example, if people have extra rubbish, or if they have a birthday party or a party in their home and they have more rubbish than can fit in their bins, they can drive up to their local petrol forecourt, for example, Circle K. They buy a ticket in the shop, or they can buy a ticket online. They go over to the bin and they put their 2 bags of rubbish into the bin for €8 or 80 SEK. We pay the shop owners, so the example, Circle K, 10% commission for selling that ticket for us. Those containers can take 3 different types of waste stream. They can take recycling waste, so bags of recycling waste. They can take organic, which is food waste, or they can take general waste. So all of them are separated. There's a minimum of 300 plus sites in Ireland. It is a high gross margin the business has. It's 60% gross margin. Each bin is averaging around 400,000 to 500,000 SEK. We've just done a deal with Circle K. It's a global solution. So what I mean by that is this product will work in most markets. It's fully remote and it saves the customer money. So this business, again, is 20% of our revenue, and it's grown month to month. So our business model for our online platform is that we have 60% of our revenue is recurring and 40% is one-off revenue. So as I spoke about earlier, when we go into a city, we advertise our services, and sometimes it's a domestic household which will book a yearly bin collection from us, and that means it's recurring revenue. We're going back to that house weekly to collect their waste. Commercial bin collection is hotels, restaurants. Again, they're recurring revenue customers. We have the big bin customers. And then 40% of our revenue is one-off revenue. So that's, again, people who want a one-off job from us. So for example, someone might be doing a house extension and they'll book a container office, or they may need some junk removed, which is TVs, couches, and they will call to their homes. You can see there the growth in recurring revenue in our business. There's a big focus, obviously, internally that we go for customers. So that's like the commercial customers, the hotels, restaurants, and the domestic customers, because that's recurring revenue. And a big focus went in our business into getting this revenue last year during the pandemic, especially. And you can see the growth there in recurring revenue up to nearly 9 million SEK in Q1 2021. So our business is over 5 years old now. We launched in 2016. In 2017, we would have won Ireland's most innovative startup. We focused on cities in Ireland. In 2018, we launched nationally in all the big areas around Ireland. And we sort of, we've done a lot of research. The waste industry is the only industry that hasn't been disrupted. There's a huge opportunity and to focus in on cities and countries where waste isn't privatized and isn't in the hand of municipalities. Waste is like any other business that has been disrupted. People want to book their waste services online, and they want some of those waste services on demand, as in right now. So we would have seen the likes of Uber and all these businesses grow with the on-demand economy, and hence why we launched Collect. By the end of 2018, we had identified opportunities in Europe, and we thought the best way to go after this was to raise growth capital. A lot of people ask us why we listed in Sweden, and the reason we listed in Sweden was, I suppose, there's not the ecosystem that there is for startups in Ireland that you have in Sweden. We needed to grow capital to scale into the UK and to scale Ireland further. And also another Irish company had listed in Ireland or listed in Sweden the previous year. Just to give you an example, in Ireland, I think only 2 companies have listed in the last year or two. We said we do the listing in Sweden, the NASDAQ, and be associated with the brand as well is good for us. So also would have been the access to finance when we wanted to acquire competitors, which we did our first acquisition last year, which was a big bin acquisition. So hence the reason we listed in Sweden on the NASDAQ First North. So what do we do for our waste collection customers? Why would someone want to book through Collect? I suppose it's a very, the market in Ireland and the UK is very much, it's hard to figure out who you can trust. So by booking through Collect, people know that when they book a waste service with us, that we use trusted and licensed contractors. So all the waste companies that we work are fully accredited, and they process their waste correctly, and they really focus on recycling rates. Also, it's a simple one-stop shop. So no longer do businesses or customers have to go through multiple websites looking for prices for different waste services. On our platform, we say we collect everything and we give a price for everything to do with waste. So no matter what your waste need is, we can give you a price for that. For a householder, 24/7, so obviously we're an online business, and people, especially through the pandemic and COVID-19, are used to booking services online and now they're waste services. And you can see that through our growth rate last year in the pandemic. We grew 60% year on year. Also for commercial businesses. So if I'm a hotel or restaurant and I've got multiple hotels throughout a region, you can work with Collect and we'll get your waste collected from different waste companies and provide you then with good reporting and centralized billing. So no longer will you have to deal with one waste company down in the south of the country and another waste company in another part of the country. With Collect, we'll centralize all that and we'll deal with the waste companies. So as a company, Listis, and a high growth company, we realized the need for strong governance and to have particularly a board beside us that has scaled companies previously. So Johnny Fortune, our chairman, has been involved in 3 previous listings on the exchange, on different stock exchanges. And he also listed Ireland's first company, Skillsoft, which grew from when Johnny was there from 200 employees to 2,000. So Johnny's vast experience in scaling companies quickly. We've Melissa O'Coolacon, who's also been involved in previous companies that have listed on exchanges. And his background, he's a legal background and also worked for NASDAQ. We have Stefan Wilstrands. So he's the CFO of G5 Entertainment. And then there's myself, John O'Connor. So that's the board for Collect. So what size are the markets? So we're particularly focused, we're very ambitious, but right now what's in front of us is there's 75 cities between Ireland and the UK that have the addressable market that we're going after. So what I mean by that is we only go into cities that 3 out of the 4 verticals above are privatized. So we, domestic households, commercial bin collection, container and junk, and industrial waste. So we won't go into a city if the municipalities are involved in like more than one of those services. So again, we focus on the cities where 3 out of those 4 are privatized. And in those cities that we're targeting, there's a population of over 40 million people. So the Irish market is worth about 10 billion. There's little competition, no brokerage. So there's no middlemen in Ireland, or there's no platforms as such aggregating supply and demand, which is what we're doing. And we add value to our partners. The UK is a very interesting market. We're operating at the moment in Manchester, and 80% of the suppliers has 10 or less employees. So what that means is the UK market from the supply side is very fragmented. So there's lots of waste suppliers for us to aggregate, and there's a huge commercial opportunity. So our growth plan is how we grow when we go into a city. First of all, when we go into a city like Manchester, we look to see if there's ready-made fulfillment infrastructure. We need a population of at least 100,000. And as I spoke about earlier, we're not focused on cities where where the council or municipalities are involved. We need to have 3 out of the 4 verticals I spoke about earlier privatized. So we recognize as a tech company our responsibility to enable a more sustainable world. So one of the advantages for customers using us is that we can provide full traceability where their waste goes. We've also done partnerships with upcyclers. So that's for when you get your old table or your furniture taken away. We've done partnerships that if that furniture is upcycled. We've also been involved in Sustainable Nation Ireland and Climate Kick. And we realize that our customers now expect, it was one of the reasons we liked working in Sweden, was that strong focus on sustainability and the environment. And likewise in Ireland and the UK and other cities in Europe, people are really focused on where their waste and furniture is going like. And believe it or not, a lot of what happens in the UK is a lot of waste companies are still going to landfill. So we're really focused on working with waste collection partners that are working towards high recycling rates. So we want to lower emissions, we want to increase up recycling, we want to divert from landfill, and we also are involved in carbon negative collections. So what I mean by that is that when anyone books a waste service through our platform, we offset the carbon emissions from that collection. So here's some key financial figures. I'm going to speak about Q1 because that was the most recent update we did to the market. You can see our revenue was 13 million SEK, which is a 47% increase in Q1 2020. I think it's important to highlight that's against the backdrop of lockdowns. The most severe lockdowns in Ireland was in Q1 2020. The country's just coming out of it now at the moment, and same in the UK. So, you know, we got this revenue against the backdrop of these lockdowns in Ireland and the UK. A lot of our businesses now are back open. What we did during the pandemic is we focused on domestic customers, on people doing clear outs and maybe doing, did extra weights because they're working from home. So we're able to leverage the sort of what people were booking their food services, and they're booking all their service they needed online, and they also we focused on getting those customers to book their waste services. You can see our gross profit increased by 50%. Also, our losses is decreasing. So we have a big investment in the internal systems within the company to make sure that we can grow revenue and keep a handle on our costs. And I also think it's important to highlight in our losses that our tech spend is actually in our P&L and we don't capitalize this. That's a choice the company made. So it's good to see that our losses are decreasing the whole time while our revenue grows. And obviously our gross margin is 2% higher in Q1 2021. So we really as a company are focused on higher margin businesses in the waste sector and recurring revenue. You can see here in Q2 2020, we would have said to the market that, again, that we're going to focus more so on recurring revenue and obviously on trying to grow that gross margin. And you can see here on the left-hand side, our recurring revenue, how it's grown in Q2 to just over 60% now in Q1 2021. And also you can see our gross margin, it's nice to see it holding around 40%. So we have a warrant program, that's happening on the 26th of July to 6th of August. So we'll have a 30% discount to our VWAP. The subscription price is capped at 15 SEK, and the subscription period is from the 9th of August to the 21st of August. With a full subscription, the company hopes to raise 55 million SEK. And now we'll just go on to our final slides. So as we always say to our potential investors and the market in Sweden, what we are doing here is a good product market fit in the cities that we're targeting in Europe. So again, we have a good product market fit, as in we've done 500,000 collections to date, and the cities that we're going into, people want what we have. People can relate to booking waste services online, and people can relate to how difficult it is to find different companies for different waste services. So it's really refreshing for these companies to be able to book whatever waste services they want online. We first mover advantage. So in a lot of the markets where we're operating, we're the only waste platform, online waste platform. We have a strong brand in a lot of the cities where we've been established for the last few years. And what I mean by strong brand is that when people or businesses think of a waste need, we want them to think of booking through Collect. So we want to build a brand that we collect everything waste. And when a person has that waste need, yes, they go onto our platform, they get a price, and then we can subcontract if they wish. Customer service is the backbone. So if you want to check on Facebook or Instagram, we have over 1,000 positive reviews from customers, and we have a lot of trust. Our other service, which is offline Big Bin, which is 20% of our revenue, is the first fully automated pay-as-you-go drop-off waste service that we're familiar with in the EU. We're scaling into the UK at the moment, and that's after the pandemic shutting us down and not being able to focus as much as we'd like to in the UK. And now we have a global opportunity. And what I mean by that is, like, everyone creates waste. Everyone has that thing in the attic or in their office that they need to get collected and recycled, but they're probably unsure of where to go with it. So thank you for your time, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you so much, John. That was very interesting. I listened to almost every word you said. I also have some questions. Can we dive into a little bit more about your drivers? Because for me, the little I know about waste management or waste collection market, all I can think about is that a lot of business activities, increased operations from the companies, and increased increased activities in a society that creates a larger market for you. Can you bring some more light on your drivers? Because I think there's more to it than only that.
Yeah, so our waste collectors, for our waste collectors, the reason that they'll work with our company is they're very good at collecting waste and processing it, but they're not so good at the providing reports, say, for example, to our commercial customers. So what we're really good at and what we do for them is we build a customer relationship, and then we get payment off the customers, and we organize all the reporting that's needed. And then our waste collectors, which is the drivers, they can collect the waste and focus on processing it and making sure that they recycle as much as possible. And we also only work with fully licensed and permitted waste collectors.
Okay, it sounds like your business is really in line with megatrends like sustainability. And is your business in any way supported by regulations from politicians or decision makers regarding, for example, emissions or other sustainability-oriented areas, would you say?
Yeah, so in different markets, in Ireland, there's a huge emphasis on zero landfill and on recycling as much as possible. So we have policies, and in the UK as well, of polluter pays principle. So there's incentives financially to recycle, for our waste collectors to recycle as much as possible. And there's a big focus, that comes from our customers and people, politicians, I suppose, making sure to divert as much from landfill. So yeah, the governments in Ireland and UK are very much behind this, and it's as I said, it's Sweden. You're at the forefront of sustainability, and it's one of the reasons, another reason that we would have listed there.
Okay, yeah. Do you see any potential upcoming new laws looking ahead that will support your business, such as new regulations or more strict control of how the companies and the households how they are managing their wastes?
Yeah, so a big driver actually for us, for our business, is obviously that people full traceability with us as a waste platform where the waste goes, but also is the pandemic and COVID-19. A lot of people, like I spoke about earlier, a lot of people were booking booking services online. So a big growth in our business has been just being online and being a platform and the familiarity of people of booking online. But regarding regulations, the government are always pushing the polluter pays principles, and it helps with our business.
Yeah. Could you tell me a little bit? I think you launched a new strategy in last year. Mm-hmm. Did it pay off as you expected? Could you describe it a little bit?
Yeah. So the businesses, a lot of businesses in Ireland, I think Ireland and the UK had very strict lockdowns. So a lot of businesses, hotels, restaurants, commercial businesses were hugely impacted. And a lot of our revenue would have come from these businesses, but we just switched our focus because we're a digital company. We can do that quickly. We switched our focus to targeting recurring revenue from domestic customers. So
that really paid off.
That was our strategy during the pandemic.
Yeah. And let's talk about the recurring revenues versus the one-off sales. Could you comment a little bit about the margin for those two different sources?
Yeah, so I suppose the what I can say is our blended revenues at 40% gross margin. Sometimes the recurring revenue mightn't be as high gross margin as the recurring, but what it is, it's frequent and it keeps we get it week after week. So we're particularly focused, obviously, on that recurring revenue. And some of the businesses that we'd be targeting for recurring revenue are, like I spoke about earlier, would be hotels, restaurants, domestic households with their bins. And yeah, it's a big focus for for ourselves, because we can also cross sell to those customers other waste services.
The margin, is it lower for the recurring revenues?
It depends. It depends on the business. For the big bin, it's actually we have a 60% gross margin, which is recurring, and then for some of the hotels and restaurants, you could be operating anywhere from 15% to 30% gross margin.
Okay. And looking at your shareholders list, I can see that you are the main shareholder. You own like 40% of the company. Good for you, I guess, but is this really good for the company, or are you looking to change it in any way? Maybe not.
So,
you don't have to sell, but are you looking for other investors?
Yeah, so with this warrant, so I think when we listed in Sweden, nearly half our investors came from Ireland. So a lot of Irish investors would have come in. And what we're doing in Sweden at the moment is we're doing these events to try and build our brand, and so people can be familiar with what we do and the growth in our business. And the reason we listed was to get as many investors involved with Collect as possible, and do good by our existing investors. So yeah, we're doing this warrant program, and that will add more. That'll add more investors to the company.
But it's retail investors, or are you looking for? Yeah, okay. So what do you expect from the lockup? I mean, you have had such actually quite steady growth the last quarters, but do you expect it to be persistent or increase, decrease? What will happen?
Yeah, so we've always grown. We've averaged about 60% growth over the last number of years. So there's a huge opportunity in the waste industry, and there's a lot of people are navigating online. So yeah, we expect to continue growing, and we're happy, obviously, that our commercial customers are back. It's nice to see that. And so we'll hopefully keep growing our business with our commercial and domestic customers.
Yeah. So could you just shed some light? Why are you listed? Why do you have your headquarters in Stockholm, and why are you listed here instead of in where your operations are in Ireland and now also in the UK?
Yeah, I suppose
is it to get to our Swedish retail investors? Is that the reason?
Yeah, it is. It's access. Yeah. I suppose it's something different. Also, being associated with the NASDAQ brand is great for opening doors to commercial customers. Being listed also allows, people can publicly see your accounts, and it builds that trust with people with customers and investors. And the NASDAQ, it was the NASDAQ as well. Some people involved in the company had worked with NASDAQ Sweden. And there's not, like I spoke about earlier, there's not much opportunity to list in Ireland. I think it's only 2 companies have listed in Ireland over the past few years. So it's, it was something different, and we feel like it's going pretty good so far.
Okay, but are you only interested in our money here back in the Nordic countries, or are you also interested in taking care of our waste management? Will you expand to the Nordic countries? I mean, you're already here. Why not work here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And no, we're looking at opportunities for the big bin waste service, the big bin, which is the waste drop-off service. We're looking at that looking at putting that in different regions in Sweden. So yeah, and there's lots. Sorry, I probably didn't highlight the people as well in Sweden that understand tech and have helped us in our journey. And also, as I spoke about, was sustainability is huge in Sweden, and we've learned so much from the different partners we've spoke to over there regarding how we can adopt some of those methods in Ireland and the UK.
Okay, so Is there anything you would like to add to your investment case that isn't really clear to our viewers, or is it all out there?
I suppose a big thing that comes up for us is like you asked, was why list in Sweden, which I think I spoke about, and also just sometimes it can be difficult to get across the opportunity and that exists for waste in other cities, because like in Sweden, municipalities collect and people don't pay directly to the waste companies.
Yeah,
But,
so it's
I hope I got that across.
Yeah. So thank you so much, John, and have a lovely day in Ireland then. So thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
day.
Thank
you.